He pō, he ao, he ao. Ko rihi te manuta ki te ata ka awa te ati he Māori ora. Ko whitire te maunga, ko ngā tauparirua te moana, ko kapiti te mautere, ko tainui te waka. Ko tō rangatira te tūpuna, ko tō rangatira te whare, ko Ngāti Toa te iwi, ko te rauparaha te tangata. Tēnei au ko te Pūoho Kātene, no Ngāti Toa, no Ngāti Whātua, no Ngāti Tama, e mihi atu nei ki a koutou, e koutou kua rame mene mai tēnā koutou katoa. Firstly, what a day that this has been. A big mihi again to all of the speakers and the panelists. Kua whirea katoa hau e te miharo, no reira tēnā koutou. And we have been on the receiving end of some rich, deeply personal stories of the journeys our speakers have taken, the lessons that they have learned, and the gems of wisdom that they offer to all of us as koha. And when I'm thinking about this whakaaro, this planning for succession, for me, an appropriate place to start this conversation is around the traits of Māori leadership. And I go to the whakatau ki he reinga niho, he parāoa te kauae. A whale's tooth requires a whale's jaw. Or to hold the mantle of leadership, one must embody the true qualities of a leader. Now, I like this. It talks about the duality of leadership, whose heights require both the requisite skill set, but also a commitment to lead in a way that is tika. That leadership is not an ascent to power, it is a submission to service. And the very thing that draws us as Māori into these governance roles is this ideal of service. I remember from my earliest age thinking about, or feeling the compulsion to finding ways to contribute to my iwi and to my community of Takapuahia. And I think the ubiquity of this innate drive to serve is a defining characteristic of te ao Māori. But one piece of advice that I took to heart, actually it was advice that was proffered to me by our previous speaker, Johnny. He said to me, before you rush to serve your people, first become what your people need you to be. And this was an important lesson for me as an aspiring individual looking to serve my people. But the unspoken question in this kōrero is around such aspirants require a well-defined pathway and support in order to meet that challenge that we set for them. Now, international author and advocate Aisha Siddiqui said that we should be the person that you needed when you were younger. And when I think about this from an organizational perspective, what does this mean from a succession angle? If you were tasked to create the path that you needed when you first started on this governance journey, what wisdoms and what lessons, what cautionary tales would you bestow on your younger self if you had the wisdom of hindsight? Now, this being the time of matariki hauku nui, I think about the meticulous attentiveness required that makes a mara flourish. The attention, the care, the shared knowledge and insights, the patience. And I appreciate this all the more because I myself am a terrible gardener. Poipoia te kākano kia puawai. Nurture and foster the seed so it may grow. And growth is a good term here because leaders aren't just born, they are grown. They are fed, they are nurtured, and they are directed towards the light. Now, the growth of leaders, to me, speaks of that same deliberateness, sustainability, and patience, elements that must be sown into whatever rautaki an organisation takes. Ko te piko o te māhuri, tērā te tupu o te rākau. The way in which the young sapling is nurtured determines how it will grow into its adulthood. And we can hope that leaders will emerge from the mists by their own volition, and this has, and this can, and it probably will again, lead to some outstanding leaders coming to the fore. But as one of our former speakers said, hope is not a strategy. Just as it is not enough for us to merely push a seed into the soil, it is not enough for us as boards, as trustees, as organisations to just create a space. It is incumbent on us that these spaces are ones of manaaki, of haumaru, and of wānanga. For Te Pūteo Whakatupu Trust, we are kaitiaki of a fund on behalf of all Māori, and we pursue the sustenance of Māori identity via the education and training, traditional and Western knowledge systems, and also leadership development. Now, over the course of the delivery of our strategic whāinga, one consistent need that we have seen is the requirement for strong leadership at the governance tables that evolves to meet the needs of our time. And so we committed as a trust to growing the next wave of future-focused, tikanga-led Māori governors. And we undertook a rigorous design sprint, interviewing both current and aspiring governors from around the motu in different situations and from different entities. And we also made sure to run design workshops with our alumni network, Ngā Awahi Tūroa. Now, this process has led to two initiatives that we believe will be vital in accelerating the future governance leaders of our people into success. And the first of which is today's summit. So thank you all for adding your aroha and your mana to this kaupapa. Ngā mihi kia koutou. The second is this establishment of an Associate Directors Program, as we have been discussing throughout the day. Our particular one is called He Tukutuku Koiora. This 2-year He Tukutuku Koiora program is developed specifically as one where future leaders can gain the skills and experience to be tikanga-led and future-focused. And we have tikanga-led governance wānanga that are buttressed with the essentials of Western best practice, whilst also remaining responsive to the needs and emerging skill requirements boards will face. So in that regard, standalone specialisation modules can target those emerging issues and needs that our future governors will have to deal with, such as data sovereignty and climate-related financial disclosures. Now, the first wāhanga of the program is dedicated to these learning modules, to embedding the sense of wānanga and upskilling. And these are supplemented by observer roles on our host boards, where the associates can apply these new learnings in a live setting. But with this commitment to grow the next wave of Māori governors comes an obligation, in that the environment that we create is one full of manaaki and safety. And it is not enough to merely create a program based only on the transfer of skills and the passive acquisition of experience. A safe and supportive environment and fostering a sense of community is a vital factor that makes our programs by Māori and for Māori. So in parallel to the learning program, the Trust's manaaki function will play a pivotal role to provide support, coordinate mentorship, and provide for the ongoing development of our participants. Now, the last part of the succession equation that we've heard a number of times today is this idea of creating space. The celebrated science fiction author, H.G. Wells, said that leaders should lead as long as they can and then vanish. Their ashes should not choke the fires that they have lit. And there will be a time when the hua of this planned succession comes to fruition, that these future leaders will emerge in abundance. And our organisations must plan for where this talent will go when they are ready to take that mantle of leadership. And when required, it will fall to us to vacate those leadership spaces. Our organisations at that point will have invested too much time and effort and aroha into growing these luminous young leaders to have them sitting on the bench. We have tasked them with becoming the leaders our people need. So when they reach these lofty heights, it is our role to step back and allow them to. Mo te katoa, mo te apōpō te take. So in summary, planning for succession When we are undertaking this and trying to plan for that success, it is not enough for us to have a passive observer in our midst. Planning for succession requires planning for success, and that is with ako and wānanga and manaaki, and with the knowledge that we are keeping their seats warm for the times when they are ready. Tēnā koutou katoa.